Hello, it's me again, and I will be talking about what, I've been doing, and I have been working on implementing mass animations into our game and syncing them up with the movement the player is doing, making sure that the jump is played when it jumps, scoping, etc. Additionally, syncing them with the network. We are making an online game, and of course we want it to look nice for both players. You want your enemy to look nice, as well as, you want to look nice as always. Also, we get some problems with these components. The network animator didn't really work as I thought, and I had to do a lot more reading than I initially intended. And then I learned how the Unity animator tool worked. It's a very useful tool, and I will talk about my experience with it. I'll just give you a quick view of what's the problem. As you can see, we have a network identity on our root object, and we are animating our play model with our network animator and the animator also on the root object. We can't put the animator on our player object because, well, if we create one, just like make a animator, then we add a network animator, you can see it creates a network identity automatically. If we try to run this, we will get an error, or warning at least. So we just run this, and as you can see, well, we get an error where it says you can't have a network identity on something that's not the root, or you can't have multiple network identities on the same object. Now the way we solved this was, well, just place the animator on the root object and then put the network animator also on the root object. Well, when we done that, the hierarchy of the animator was broken. So you can see here we have a bunch of references missing. To solve this, we used a little tool. That's the animate hierarchy editor. I found this online and it's very useful. Unity doesn't have any way built in to change your references. So you can just open a animation, and then you see we have a reference here, and then we just drag in a new reference and it turns green and shows, yeah, now it's working, the reference is set. And that's basically what we had to do. It was pretty easy. Here we have the tool on GitHub. After I had solved the hierarchy problem, I started on actually implementing all my animations. After having a small experience with animating the scoping of the weapon, I tried to animate the whole player. Of course, a player is way more complicated than just a weapon, and I soon realized that if I do it this way, I would have just a big spaghetti thing that would probably work somehow, but not really well, and need a lot of maintenance to actually work. The system I had was just a bunch of transitions between events. So for example, jumping would go back to sprinting if you were at a certain speed, and you would go to scope sprinting if you had a certain speed and were scoping. So that was nothing to have. You can see it's not working. This is just a replay. So after rearranging my workspace, I tried using blend trees. This was probably my savior. I had no idea what blend trees was, so after spending a few hours reading up on that, or maybe 1 hour, I got working and realized that, well, this would just make my job so much easier. A blend tree is basically an array of different movements, and you then can have values controlling what of those animations will be dominant. So for example, if we say that sprinting is a value of 5 and running is a value of 3, when the value is set to 3 you have the walking, and on 5 you have the sprinting. So forward, backwards, left and right, and forward you could also sprint. So you can see I can move the dot around, and Unity is so kind to blend all our animations between our others. Then we added some jump, just add some basic transitions when a bool is triggered. And these are parameters inside the animator that we can then reference in our code. Currently our script is calculating what movement to set depending on our velocity. So we get a value between 1 and 0, and depending on that value we set the different animations. And for the jump we have a bool that is put to true when you're jumping and reset to false if you're not. Here you can see a bit of a movement code. We actually changed it up a bit and added some more comments and simply made it better, because after Maha was done with this and we all had like done small changes, we realized that none of us really knew what we were doing anymore. So we rewrote it and now it's way more seeable what you're actually doing. Once that was finished, we had to sync my scoping animations. The scope on the player is just the weapon following the hand, so I didn't have to do much. And well, the HUD is just a different animations where the weapon moves up to the middle of the camera and then is disabled. Now, I thought it would be as easy as just syncing all the other animations, and well it was. But what wasn't easy was syncing the layer. I still haven't solved this, and what's happening is that the layer weight isn't really synced. Now, for those of you that don't know what a layer weight is, it's basically what's controlling what layer is pretty much dominant. And a layer allows you to have some part of the model being animated and the other things still doing what they were doing. So in my case, I'm animating the arms to be moving and the rest of the body is still walking. So hopefully I will be able to solve this. My bool of scoping is working, but well, the layer variable is not really synced. Yeah, that's all from me. Our game is coming along pretty okay. We now have around 2 days, but not really, because on the Friday, so that's in 2 days, we actually have no time to actually work on the game because we have game testers coming and test our games. And tomorrow, well, you probably shouldn't work on like big stuff, because if that doesn't work, you're pretty much screwed on Friday, and you do want a game that someone is able to at least test. I do see us actually finishing a prototype until Friday, so that's pretty exciting. I didn't expect it, to be honest, at the beginning or at the end of last week, but everyone in the team has been just working hard and it's really great. So we will keep you updated. We will have a few vlogs coming the next days without any interruptions, so see you for that. Goodbye.